The paralegal's name is Sandra. She has a glass desk and a framed certificate on the wall that no one reads. She slides a manila folder across the table and points to the yellow tab on page 3. You sign. She hands you a notarized copy of an estate transfer. Your uncle's name is printed across the top in bold serif font. He passed away 14 days ago. The two of you had not been close for years, not because of a fight, not because of anything specific, just distance. The kind that builds quietly when no one maintains it. You never discussed it. Now it's irrelevant. What is relevant is the figure in the middle of page 2, $1,147,000. After probate, estate taxes, and legal fees, $961,500 lands in an account with your name on it. You drive home in a 2013 Corolla with a check engine light that's been on for 8 months and a driver's seat that won't lock back into position. You think about the number the entire drive home. You don't play music. The wire hits on a Tuesday. You check the balance 3 times before noon. The number doesn't change. You are 31 years old. You work in operations coordination for a mid-sized logistics company. You make $58,000 a year. You have $9,400 in a savings account, $21,000 in a 401k you haven't touched in 2 years, $16,200 in credit card debt spread across 3 cards, and $190 left until your next pay cycle. And now you have $961,500 sitting in a standard checking account, earning 0.01% interest. The feeling is not what you expected. It is not joy, it is not relief, it is something closer to vertigo, like the ground shifted 2 inches to the left and everything is technically still standing, but your balance is off. You tell yourself you will not touch anything for 90 days. You saw this advice on a forum thread. It is correct. You last 23 days. The car is a BMW X3. 1-year-old, certified pre-owned, 11,200 miles. The sticker is $62,400. You get it to $57,800 and feel sharp about it. You tell yourself you needed something reliable. You tell yourself the Corolla was a liability, not just a car. You sign the paperwork and write a check, and it does not feel like $57,800. It feels like moving money from one pocket to another. The balance becomes $903,700. You don't write that number down. You should. 3 weeks later, your aunt calls. She has a situation. Your cousin has a separate situation. They come packaged in the same conversation, back to back like items in a list. Your aunt needs $19,000 to cover mortgage arrears. She doesn't call it a gift. She calls it temporary. You know, on some level, that temporary is a word people use when they mean permanent but don't want to say it yet. You send the money. For your cousin, it's $13,500 to clear a collections judgment from a failed detailing business. You wire that too. $32,500 leaves your account over the course of 4 days. No promissory note, no timeline, no documentation of any kind. You tell yourself this is what the money is for. This is what family does. The balance sits at $871,200. You feel like a good person for about a week. Your lease is up in 2 months. You've been in a 1-bedroom for $1,050 a month for 3 years. The walls are thin and the laundry room is in the basement and the parking is street only. A coworker mentions a building across town. 2 bedrooms, a rooftop deck, a fitness center, underground parking included, $2,800 a month. You visit on a Tuesday evening. The lobby has exposed concrete and warm pendant lighting. You sign the following Friday. It is nearly 3 times your previous rent, but you can afford it now. That sentence is where something breaks quietly. I can afford it and this is the right decision are not the same sentence. They just sound similar. You don't separate them. You move in. You need furniture that fits the space. $13,200 at a place that doesn't call itself a furniture store. It calls itself an interior concept studio. The balance drops to $855,800. You stop checking it every day. The lifestyle has weight now. It pulls things toward it. People recalibrate around you. Acquaintances become regulars. People who hadn't reached out in years start appearing with ideas. A former coworker you haven't spoken to since his going-away party 2 years ago sends you a LinkedIn message and then a text. He's building a SaaS platform for independent contractors. He needs $35,000 to get to his Series A. He has a deck. The deck is clean, 12 slides, good fonts. The concept makes sense. He tells you the bridge converts to equity at a 20% discount when the round closes. You meet for coffee. He's convincing. You wire $35,000. The Series A never materializes. The platform is technically still online. The $35,000 is not. The balance is $820,800. You tell yourself it was a calculated risk. You don't tell anyone else about it. Your spending has restructured itself and you haven't noticed. Dinners that used to cost $30 now cost $90 and you always get the wine. You book better seats. You cover things in group settings because it's easier than the math. You're not tracking any of it. Your monthly expenses are somewhere between $6,500 and $8,200. $14 months ago, they were $2,100. No single line item is alarming. Together, they are a different story entirely. 18 months after the wire, you run the numbers for the first time since the car. The balance is $681,000. The number surprises you. You spend a Sunday afternoon going through statements. You convince yourself it's fine. You still have $681,000. That's still significant. That logic is the most expensive thought you will ever have. Your cousin calls, not the one you sent the $13,500 to, a different one. He wants to open a Jamaican food stall inside a local market. He has the concept, a supplier relationship, a used commercial setup he found for $22,000 and a plan. He needs $55,000 to get to opening day. You talk him down to $45,000. You feel good about that negotiation. You wire the money and take a 25% stake on a verbal agreement. No LLC, no operating agreement, no documentation. 6 weeks after opening, the refrigeration unit breaks down. Repair cost is $9,500. It wasn't budgeted. He calls. You send $7,000 because you tell yourself you're protecting the original position. The balance falls to $629,000. Month 17, you find a financial advisor. His office is in a professional complex with a waterfall feature in the lobby. He has framed designations on the wall. He is well-spoken and confident, and he does not lead with fees. He is not a fiduciary. You don't know to ask. He recommends a selection of actively managed funds with a blended expense ratio of 1.6%. He also walks you through a whole life insurance product that he describes as a tax-advantaged wealth vehicle. You put $180,000 into the fund portfolio and $16,000 into the first year of the insurance premium. For the first time in a year and a half, you feel like you're being responsible. The balance outside the investments is $433,000. At a dinner party hosted by someone you met through the college friend who lost your $35,000, you're introduced to a man who manages private real estate partnerships. He has a deal, a self-storage facility 4 hours south, 290 units, currently at 68% occupancy, with a clear path to 85% over the next 20 months. The projected cash-on-cash return at stabilization is 13%. Buy-in for a 15% equity position is $110,000. You ask a few questions. The answers are smooth. You don't hire an attorney to review the operating agreement. You don't verify the occupancy rate. You don't call any other investors in the deal. You wire $110,000. The balance outside investments is $323,000. That number has a different texture than any number you've looked at since the first day. There is no cushion language you can apply to it. Month 4 after the wire, the facility distributes $2,900. Month 5, $1,600. Month 6, nothing. Your contact's response time goes from same day to 3 days to a week. When he does respond, he is calm and detailed and always 1/4 away from a turning point. By month 10, you have received $4,500 total on a $110,000 investment. By month 13, the facility files for receivership. A letter arrives. Your estimated recovery is 12 to 19 cents on the dollar. You leave the follow-up envelope on the counter for 4 days before opening it. The fact that you already know what it says is how you know. The mutual fund portfolio has dropped 16% since you funded it. $180,000 is now worth $151,200. Your advisor tells you to stay the course. He is not technically wrong. The 1.6% expense ratio continues regardless. He doesn't bring that up. Month 24, the food stall closes. Your cousin calls with genuine remorse and zero assets. The equipment was leased. The supplier kept the deposit. Your 25% equity stake in a dissolved operation is worth nothing. You account for $52,000 in your head and move on because the only direction is forward. You are now working with roughly $323,000 in liquid cash, minus the $110,000 in the storage deal, minus the $52,000 in the stall. Call it $161,000 liquid and $151,200 in a declining portfolio. Your monthly expenses are $7,600. They have been above $7,000 for over a year. Your salary is still $58,000 annually. That's $4,833 a month before taxes. The gap between what you earn and what you spend stopped being theoretical several months ago. The cushion absorbed it quietly until it couldn't. You downsize, a 1-bedroom at $1,550 a month. The furniture from the interior concept studio looks like it belongs in a different person's life, which it does. You sell most of it through an app for $2,800. You paid $13,200. You keep the bookshelf. The BMW is $780 a month, and you're $11,000 underwater on it. You hold it for 3 more months before absorbing the loss on a trade-in because you're not ready to look at the number directly. That delay costs you $2,340 in payments before you finally deal with it. Month 33, Sunday morning, you open the app, checking $28,400, portfolio $144,600, total $173,000. You started with $961,500. You have retained 18 cents of every dollar you inherited. The money didn't leave in a single event, it left in movements. Each movement had a rationale. None of the rationales were irrational in isolation. Stacked together, they built a structure with no load-bearing walls. You ask your advisor to liquidate the portfolio. After early withdrawal considerations, fees, and partial gains from the first few months, you net $136,800. You pay off the credit card debt you quietly accumulated during all of this, $21,700. The balance settles at $143,500. You are 34 years old. You have $143,500, a job that pays $58,000, and a very specific, very expensive education in exactly how money works. The tuition was $817,000, and there is no diploma, what you know now that you did not know then. Liquidity is not wealth. A number in an account is potential. It becomes wealth only when it's paired with a plan, a structure, and the discipline to hold both under pressure. The people who love you will bring you their problems when they believe you have the capacity to solve them. That's not manipulation. That's human nature. The mistake is treating generosity as a strategy. You can be generous and structured at the same time. You chose generous and unstructured, and the distinction mattered more than you expected. Lifestyle inflation doesn't feel like a decision. It feels like a natural progression. Every upgrade seems proportionate to the moment you're in. The problem is that it shifts your baseline permanently, and your income didn't shift with it. An investment without an attorney-reviewed agreement, independent verification, and documented structure is not an investment. It is a transfer with optimism attached. And the hardest part is not the number at the end. The hardest part is that every single step felt reasonable. You helped family. You tried to build something. You upgraded your circumstances. You sought professional guidance. You did everything with honest intentions, and money doesn't measure intentions, it measures decisions. That is the sentence that doesn't leave. Your uncle lived in the same house for 31 years, drove an 8-year-old truck, never talked about what he had. You always thought that was just his personality. Quiet, unmaterialistic, maybe even a little closed off. Now you wonder if what looked like restraint was actually something more deliberate, a specific kind of discipline built over decades that isn't transferable by document. You can inherit an amount. You cannot inherit the judgment it took to build it. That's the thing the attorney didn't slide across the desk. That's the thing no one thought to mention.